Turning now to a controversial policy in Gaza that was revealed today. The opposition MK Avigdor Lieberman claimed that Israel is arming Hamas's rivals in the Strip. Multiple sources at the Defense Ministry have confirmed to I24 News that a gang led by notorious gangster Yasser Abu Shabab has been receiving Kalashnikovs and other weapons. Hamas says this is proof that Israel is arming gangs and criminal elements in the Strip, and they have warned Palestinians not to get involved. Well, to talk more about that, we're joined in the studio by our Middle East correspondent Ariel Osseran and security analyst Yaakov Lapin. Welcome to you both. So, Yaakov, I'll start with you. The enemy's enemy is my friend. It's an old strategy for Israel, isn't it? But there are significant risks as well, aren't there?
Of course, there's risks with any maneuver that Israel is going to be doing in Gaza. Now, according to a number of reports that have surfaced since Avigdor Lieberman dropped that rhetorical grenade, which set the political scene on fire, we have heard reports that the Shin Bet Domestic Intelligence Agency and the IDF were on board and in the know regarding this decision. That would suggest to me that there was a thorough screening of this outfit, of this clan. And it seems to me that Israel is looking for allies on the ground in the Gaza Strip as part of its overall goal of destroying the Hamas terror regime. It needs certain boots on the ground that are not IDF to help secure some of the distribution centers. And if it found those allies and conducted a proper screening process with the intelligence community, with the IDF, if it was done properly, then I think that we should keep politics out and we should just look at this decision from a security perspective and judge it by its results. If it was done improperly, which does not seem to be the case as of now, then that would be very alarming. But all signs now point to this being a proper procedure done with the full knowledge and approval of the defense establishment. And if that's the case, I would hold my horses and before rushing in with judgment about a decision like this.
All right, Ariel, you've been looking at the activities of Yasser Abu Shabab in Gaza for some time now, and you managed to speak to some members of his gang. What did they tell you today?
Right, so let's take a step back. Who is Yasser Abu Shabab? He's a notorious gangster in Gaza. That is how he's described. Working for years as a known criminal, drug smuggling. He also has a past, according to Palestinian security sources who I spoke to this evening, confirmed that in the past he also worked with ISIS in the Sinai Peninsula. Ultimately, during the war, he was accused of stealing humanitarian aid. He established a few weeks ago a group called the Anti-Terror Service, recently changing their name to the Popular Forces. They say that they're distributing aid directly to Gazans and even declared a Hamas-free zone in Rafah, an area under complete IDF control, which might indicate, as Yaakov alluded to, some coordination or at least tacit agreement by Israel for his presence there. And we decided to give them a call. Me and I24 News producer Nasri Nassar gave them a phone call asking them about their activity and also about any cooperation with Israel. And this is what we spoke with Abu Ali, a guy identified himself from the front office of the Popular Forces. And this is part of the short conversation that we had earlier today.
وكل حركه في الدنيا هذه لها مؤيدين ولها معارضين، او اي شيء بيمشي في الدنيا هذه له مؤيدين وله معارضين، ولكن احنا كما وضحنا في الفيديو اللي نزلناه على صفحتنا والكلام اللي قلناه، احنا بنستقبل الناس ترجع على دورها وبنأمنها في طعام وفي اكل وفي شرب دون محسوبيه، دون سرقه، دون اي اهانه لكرامه الانسان الغزي.
صحيح. وموضوع استلام مساعدات من اسرائيل، شو ممكن يكون الرد على هذا الموضوع للتوضيح؟
لا حاليا انا بقدرش ارد عليك في اي شيء.
All right. Well, that was one of those gang members in Gaza speaking to our Nasrin Nassar and Ariel Osseran earlier today. Yaakov, I mean, you were listening to that as well. I mean, these are clearly not angels, are they? But they are opposed to Hamas. I mean, could this be the way to defeat Hamas long term? Because it is an alternative. But why this group particularly and not the Palestinian Authority, for example?
So assuming that we're just seeing fragments, and this is certainly a very impressive, I think, revelation to even have this call by Ariel and the producer. But I think what we're seeing here is fragments of a much larger initiative, and that is to find allies on the ground who will undergo some sort of screening process, and will, the independent judgment of the intelligence community. I don't think that Israel would be taking part in any process like this if somebody raised a red flag from the Shin Bet, from IDF Southern Command, from military intelligence saying, don't do this, these guys are going to turn on us.
I mean, well, Lieberman is saying that they work with Hamas. They are linked to, not Hamas, to ISIS. They're linked to ISIS. I mean, that's very worrying in itself, isn't it?
Well, if that's true, that's very worrying. Again, we are, fumbling because this is a brand. We're sort of groping in the dark, trying to figure out what's going on. But again, my baseline assumption is the defense establishment would not have given a green light for a maneuver like this if it did not feel that the benefit outweighed the risk, and that it is possible to work with this outfit to defeat Hamas as a terror organization.
And then worry about what happens afterwards further down the road.
Right, and I also think that this is not supposed to be some sort of post-Hamas administration. This is not what we're looking at. I think we're looking at some sort of stopgap measure that is designed to help stabilize southern Gaza. And look, you have to, sometimes in the Middle East, you have to work with what there is on the ground. We're not surrounded by liberal democracies. Israel has also had calls with members reportedly of the al-Shara regime in Syria, who until recently were the heads of al-Qaeda. And I didn't see anybody going crazy over those reports. So this is the Middle East. This is who we have to work with.
There are similarities with Syria, for sure, yeah.
Just a few quick notes. One, Abu Shabab claims that he works under the auspices of the PA, but there hasn't been any official recognition of that. Sources in Gaza who have asked about this figure describe him not as a Robin Hood, as an angel, as you asked, but more of an agent of chaos, that anyone who comes in contact with him endangers themselves. And that leads to the third point. The fact that he is now being labeled as a collaborator with Israel undermines any plans for an independent administration that is seen not connected to Hamas or Israel, which is very important for Palestinian public opinion on the ground. And it will be, and Hamas is saying that they will go after anyone who cooperates with them, with these thieves, and they'll be pursued and held accountable with firmness.
And real quick, has there been any reaction from the PA?
Not on this individual.
No official reaction? No. Interesting.